What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logistical Styles coming at you with another video, and today we are doing a gig log. So I'm gonna jump right into it. It's the first mobile gig of the year for me. It's February 2023, finally coming off of the slow or the dead season. For most mobile DJs, January is a very slow month of the year, and we're just coming off of the rush of the holidays. Christmas is over, New Year's is over, so it's kind of really slow. Not a lot of events unless they were planned way in advance, maybe for a birthday party or a wedding that was already determined to be a January wedding. But January is not really a very popular month for weddings, so events were really slow, and may also has to do with budgets. A lot of companies for corporate events, it's the beginning of the year. They just spent a lot of money for the holidays, so they don't want to spend too much. I know I've seen a lot of requests for uh, company gigs for like restaurants or other hospitality organizations where they didn't have time to do a real holiday event during December, so they're doing them during January. But those are not a lot. They're not really in abundance. So January is a slow time of year. February, things start to slowly trickle in. January, I did one bar gig. February, I did my first mobile gig. March, I have a couple of bar dates set, and hopefully the mobile stuff starts trickling in from the vendors that I get a lot of referrals from. I operate mostly off of referrals. Most of my events come from other DJs, other caterers, photographers, other people in the industry. They've seen me work, and they ask for a business card, and then they refer me to a future client. So that's the way it works for me. Either that, or I get leads from Gig Salad and some other places, maybe Bark or whatever. But that's about it. So anyway, this video is about a gig I just did last week. It wasn't a party per se. It definitely wasn't a wedding. Not really corporate. It was kind of for a nonprofit. It was a fundraiser slash gala. And this was for an organization called One Heart. And it is an organization that creates awareness and education for congenital heart defects. Very interesting organization. I learned a lot about CHD, congenital heart disease or defects, and I also got to see how people benefit from the support teams that they have, from the doctors and the family and all the other people that help a patient come through or survive that medical issue. So anyway, this event was mostly me playing background music and then providing microphones and sound system for some panels that went on, basically some interviews with the doctors and the family members. And then there was supposed to be some dancing at the end of the night, but it didn't really happen like that. Mainly because it was okay, so the event started, I was booked from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock initially. Then the client asked if they could have like a buffer zone to go to like 10:30 because they thought maybe the speaking parts would go over, and they wanted to make sure there was some room for dancing. Well, in this particular case, we agreed to it. They paid for the extra hour or the extra 30 minutes of performance time, but they didn't speak to, or they didn't really go over this with the venue. So at 10 o'clock, the event ended. So I was out in my car pulling off at 10:30. So it was an interesting event, but it definitely was a nice way to ease back into doing events for this year. It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but uh, my last event for 2022 was like December. It was like the last week of December, right before Christmas. And this event was February, I think that was the 18th. So it doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're used to working every weekend, and every weekend you got to load up and prepare for a gig, and you have all those weekends without gigs, it seems like a long time. So I was a little, jittery, but this was a nice way to segue back into doing events. I also got to use new system or new setup that I haven't used previously. I've been experimenting with some things before last year, and I took the successes and the things that worked and put them onto this new setup. So I'm using in this event, I'm going to use this mainly for all this year because I want to go back to using turntables a lot more than the smaller controller. So I had my uh, reloops, I had my Rain 70, my RCFs were my speakers, and let's just get into it. I'll show you what it is. So let's just hop over to the iPad so we can pull up some pictures to see what the event looked like or what my setup looked like. So this is what I set up. Um, this whole setup right here is, I'm really proud of the way it came out. So you see my RCFs on the left and the right, right in front of the dance floor. Um, I set up according to the dance floor, and it wasn't until later on I realized that most of the attention was going to be happening on the other side of, you see those double doors on that. So going to the right side of that, it is a whole nother little area, and there was a projector, and that's where most of the talking and the panels were going to be taking place. And eventually we are supposed to move over to me on the dance floor. Well, um, you see, I have my RCFs. I've got my uplights. I bought for this room. I bought 10 of the RCF Rock Wedge uplights, and I use those to accent the walls to make them look good. The one problem I had was the crown molding. If you look at this picture, you can see that there's crown molding going across the lower portion of the wall, probably maybe 3 feet high from the floor, and that blocks. You can see, if you can see in this picture right here, it blocks the way uh, my uplights are supposed to really work. So I was trying to go for, a whole light column going up the wall up to the ceiling, and you can see I've got lights up in the ceiling up in there. The light did hit that, but the crown molding blocked it from going up the majority of the wall. So I need to really think about that for future events. Maybe I can pull it out a little bit away from the wall because those lights are sitting flush against the wall. But at the same time, I don't want to create a tripping hazard for people in the area. So I got to work on that. Probably wouldn't have been such an issue if the people actually in the venue would dim the lights a little bit more. You could get more bang for your buck from the lighting, but maybe because this was more of a speaking gig, they decided not to. But they did have a projector. You'll see in one of the other pictures. They had a projector going. So you would think in a room with a big projector and some lighting, you can dim the main lights or whatever. But that didn't work out. They didn't do that. So anyway, this is my setup. You see I have a TV here. That's something new I started using back in November, December of last year. And I've just kind of perfected it, made it work a lot better. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. So this is like a 32-inch TV sitting in front of my DJ stand. This is a stand made by Odyssey. I bought this from another DJ, bought it used for $75. Normally it goes for about $216. But this is something I should have bought a long time ago. It's really dope. It folds up into a very slim, compact, portable unit. The only other thing I had to add was the tabletop, which is just a piece of plywood that I got from Home Depot, and I sanded it down and painted it. And on top, you see my turntables. We'll probably get a better picture, but my turntables, my mixer, and then my right here, you can see the receiver for my wireless mic. That's the Phoenix Pro wireless mic. I'm going to do a review on it. It did okay this event. There were some little random artifact noises I could hear, like little pieces of static or a little pop here and there. But overall, the mic did very well. It transmitted, and there was no problem. Let's see. You'll notice my laptop is using that stand that I did a review on last year. Yes, I do use the products that I review. If I say I like it, I'm going to implement it into my DJ rig. So you can see that right there. That's a Vivo, V-I-V-O laptop stand. It clamps right onto a tabletop. I love it. This is the second one that I've bought. I have one for the home studio. I have one for my gigs when I go out. My microphone, like I said, is the Phoenix Pro. And that's about it. This is a really simple setup. The only other thing is on the floor next to my RCFs, you can see the little moving head light. I have these two mini moving head lights. I bought these uh, years ago, probably 3, 4 years ago now, and they have been super reliable. Right now, they are hooked up using a DMX cable so they can go master slave to keep them in sync with each other. But probably next week, I'm going to get a pair of the wireless DMX receivers so I can cut down on some cabling. I was really happy with the way this setup was because I was able to gaff tape things nice and cleanly. Sometimes I overlook that, but that's a detail I definitely paid attention to. And so there's no trip hazards. It's a very clean setup. So let's see if we can jump back to me so I can pull up another picture of it. Let's see if we can get here's a better picture of it, of the setup directly on. So you'll see that I have the company's logo on the TV in front of my thing. That turned out being a very, very good conversation starter for people coming up to me. They just loved it. They were taking pictures of it. And this isn't even my favorite use of this because their logo was just white with pink writing, so it kind of washed out. But um, I have a logo with my name on it. It's black and gold. It looks really good when I display it. There's also I can put on monograms for other people for like their wedding with their wedding date. So this cuts down on me having to use a projector so much. I mean, the projector is nice to shoot a monogram or a gobo on the wall, but it's sometimes hard because you got to find the right place to put it. You got to find the right it's a lot of things: the lighting, the location, the angle, the tripod you have to put it on. So I'm definitely going to be doing this a lot more than using projectors. This is nice. The client loved it. They came up to me at the end of the night and said that this was really great. And this is the same reaction I got when I used it in a different capacity, maybe a few months ago, back in December, at the last wedding I did. Uh, it was a little trial and error, and I didn't have the same stand for it to hook onto. But people loved it back then. They love it now. They were like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen anybody do this before," which is kind of odd because I've seen other DJs with TVs and stuff incorporated into their DJ furniture. But I'm liking this. I'm going to be doing this pretty much for all year, all my mobile events. Now, if I get somebody that's on a really, really tight budget and they're like, oh, I can only afford, X amount of dollars, then I can remove that. I can remove the uplights, maybe not even use turntables, use a controller. But this is my standard setup. This is what I want. This is the image that I want to present for this year. So let's see what other pictures I got here. I'm going to keep jumping back to the main picture because I don't want to show too much. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead. This right here is me, obviously, in front of my decks. You can see the antennas for the receiver right there. And if you can notice, there was this. It wasn't a photo booth, but they had a wall with some nice balloons and lighting and some balloon words. So everybody was really interested in taking pictures in front of that. That this was all during dinner, cocktail hour time. So eventually, when it was time to dance, they did come up and dance, but they were all still really interested in that. Let's see. Let's see, that's the DJ stand. Let's go ahead and get some other pictures going. So, like I said, everybody was really interested in taking pictures in front of that wall. That was a big part. This is still the early part where people are coming in, but this whole setup was just so convenient, and it really makes a difference when you have a setup that you're very confident in. You look good. You're clean as far as your wire. You don't have wires hanging all over the place. Nobody's tripping. They can easily walk up to you. I mean, I was really happy with the way this worked out. For the beginning part, I was pretty much just playing like jazz, some 80s music, what you would play basically for a wedding, dinner time at a wedding. So this is what I was doing there. Let's see, I got some footage. I tried to make a point to get some decent footage of the whole event. But as you can see right there on the other side of the room where the dance floor is, that's where all the tables are. That's where the projector was showing the slideshow, and during the panels they had some other stuff that was being presented up there. This is the host as she was speaking. She's the founder of this organization. She's the person who actually had CHD and from birth, and her story was just really amazing to hear it. My microphones, like I said, they did well. This is the dual version of the Phoenix Pro, so they were able to transmit well, and that's not my projector. That's provided by the venue. One problem I did have is like they just did not dim the lights at all. Like even with a projector screen like that, you would think that okay, well, let's dim the lights a little bit so the projector looks a little bit better, but it just never happened. You can see, where I was situated in relation to the rest of the audience. So, like I said, this was a really easy gig. By the time we got to the end of the night, people did do a little dancing. Um, but they never dimmed the lights. This situation would have looked so much better if they would have just dimmed the lights in the room. And when I was on one of my other message boards talking about it, they asked me, did you actually request that they turn the lights down? And I didn't. So that's something I'm gonna actually try to doing more of, is being more proactive about the environment. If I'm bringing in lighting, I want to be in charge of the lighting and be like, hey, let's bring the house lights down a little bit. Why are the house lights up so high? Bring them down a little bit so we can get the full effect of the lighting that I'm bringing in, or my visual effects. So yeah, this is how the night went. This is like the most dancing that we got, because there was a lot of talking and a lot of interviews. I mean, the food was great. The food was excellent. I had like lobster stuffed shrimp with pasta. It was really good stuff. But after a while of listening to so much, and it was all about medical stuff, you can kind of you felt like you were in school a little bit. So when it was over, it was still early in the night. It was like we didn't open the dance floor up until maybe 9:15, 9:20, and we had to be out at 10. So, people after sitting, they got there. Some people arrived at like 6 o'clock. And I always say it's hard to keep people in a room for 4 hours or more than 4 hours. If there's an event and there's stuff happening, people will stick around for it. But when you have these long nights or these speeches and all the stuff going on, people are going to be ready to go at the first chance they can get to get up. Even if there is a bar, the bar was open and the bar was free. So that was really dope. They spent a lot of really good money on this stuff, on this place. It was a really nice place. It was a country club community, and folks just really seemed to have a good time. I got great reviews from it. Everybody was happy. So I can't complain. I'm ready to do the next gig. I've got something lined up for, well, so far my next couple of gigs are going to be bar gigs. So I may do a review on that. I'm not really big on doing a whole lot of gig reviews or gig logs, because, they seem kind of repetitive after a while. You bring in the same equipment over and over again. But this was like the beginning of the year, first gig for me. So I needed, to talk about something. And I think this is a great thing to talk about, to show you what I do when I'm out doing gigs. It's not always just, what you see on the channel. And I'm going to do some more stuff. Got some more videos coming out. I hope you like the review that I just did for the 1x1 turntable. That was really dope. I love that turntable. I still use it. And I got some more product reviews. So I hope you enjoyed this gig log. We got more stuff coming up. Just keep watching the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And also look out for me on other social media. I'm on everything. Well, not everything. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I am on YouTube. And sometimes, I need to get better about it, but I do Twitch occasionally. But everything is at Logisticalstyles. So find me, follow me, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. All right? Peace.